to Jermaine Goins, season 2. Second baby, back. Here we go. Turn me up a little bit. The change I want to make is keep my losses safe. Get my mama out the hood, put her in a better place. In a big house with a lot of space. You ain't never got without me catching another case. The change I want to make is keep my losses safe. Get my mama out the hood, put her in a better place. In a big house with a lot of space. You ain't never worry about me catching another case.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of First Date Unsolved. I want to do a little celebration every time I do an intro, but I promised I wouldn't do that. So, yeah, this is episode 4. You might have noticed that our intro for this episode was a little different. That's because the song you heard was recorded by Jermaine Goins Jr., who our episode is about today. His mother was nice enough to share that song with me and gave me permission to use it in our episode. So I thought the intro would be a perfect place for that. Jermaine Goins Jr., affectionately known by his family and friends as Maine, was born October 6th, 1993 to his mother, Kendra, a.k.a. Kisa Anderson, and his father, Jermaine Goins Sr. Kisa said that while growing up, Jermaine was a normal kid for the most part, but he was such a jokester. The only word she could think of to describe him was goofball. In this clip that I'm going to share, Kisa mentions a video of Jermaine and her daughter, who is also named Kendra. She mentions the video of them wrestling or play fighting. I had the opportunity to watch that video, and it's hard to tell if Kendra is out of breath from playing with her brother or if she's just out of breath from laughing. She is giggling the entire time, and I know he's pretending like he's serious, like, no, this is a real thing, but it looked like so much fun. And I'm sure it's a combination of her being out of breath from laughing and playing, but you know, that you can really sense that they had a great relationship just from that short video, and it was a pleasure to watch. So here's what Kisa had to say about Jermaine growing up.
Let's see. Jermaine was born October 6th, 1993. An average kid. He he was just a goofball. That's the only way I can sum it up. He always made everybody laugh. The entire family he was like, oh, Jermaine's just a jokester. When I had to actually write his obituary, along with my best friend actually helped me do a lot of that stuff. And she was just like, you have to put in there that he was a jokester because that's just what he did. Like, and to sum it up, I guess, well, not to sum it up, but like one of the things he used to do was jump in my bed, even at the age of 19. Jump in my bed. It could be first thing in the morning, or even if I'm just in my room doing something, he's jumping on my bed, laying across the bed, like, so what you doing today? I'm like, I just got off from work. What do you mean? What am I doing today? Or it's some other things he did, but yeah, he was just hilarious. I have videos of him and his little sister. I don't know if he was teaching. Well, actually, I wasn't home at the time, so they probably shouldn't have been doing it. But like they were wrestling and everything, and it's actually on his Facebook page. He put it on his page, and like he was. I want to assume he was trying to teach her how to fight. But she was, yeah, it was just hilarious. Like they're both screaming, she's laughing, he's picking her up. It was just. Yeah, it was just funny. Or I have videos of them too. Like my daughter would be like, "Oh, here comes Jermaine to the set, and he's dancing." He also could rap. Actually, I'm gonna send you that. The rap that I have, which was really, really a good one. Yeah, I have that. So I don't have all of his recordings. I know he did a lot, right. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually have his Facebook pulled up here. I'll have to check out that video. So I actually did read his obituary, and there was a cute story in there about like Thanksgiving. Could he sing too?
Yes, actually. And we didn't realize it until like my family would get together and it would be like a potluck, but it's Thanksgiving. So somebody was in charge of the turkey, somebody was in charge of the mac and cheese. And so we would have all of the kids put on a talent show. All the adults or anybody that didn't participate in the talent show would all pass off. Everybody would put money in a pot, and then we would make sure every kid got something, but the top three got the most.
Oh, wow.
And that day he sang One Wish by Ray J.
Okay.
And he killed it. He killed it. I was just like, oh my God, like you really can sing. And he was a stutterer, like he stuttered. So, and he stuttered not real bad, but you know, I always looked at it like, I know you lying because you're starting to stutter.
Oh man, that's a sign, huh?
But yeah, and he sang that song and he killed it. We were just, everybody was like, oh my God, where did that come from? So actually when we did his funeral, we were trying to play it, but Ray J cussed in the beginning, so they couldn't play the song.
Oh, okay.
But, and I guess I should have told him that was only, because they only cussed one time. It was only in the beginning. But yeah, so we didn't get an opportunity to play the song. But yeah, that's definitely anybody in my family that know him, that is the song that they remember him by. Yeah, he was a good kid. He really was a good kid. Very, like, anybody that knew him, like even as adults, and I'm a hairstylist, so all of my clients knew him. And they were like, when he passed, they were just like, I just want you to know that your son was so pleasant, so polite. One day, my client was putting her groceries in the house and he seen her. He went to go help her with the groceries. Like, he was really a sweet kid.
Jermaine was a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and his dad is a big Ravens fan. For those of you unfamiliar with football rivalries, the Steelers and Ravens fans go at it. They don't get along. So needless to say that Jermaine and his dad had a friendly rivalry going on. Jermaine was such a huge fan that Kendra got permission from the Steelers to have their logo imprinted on his marker. She wrote a letter to the team, and in just about a month's time, they sent her an official approval to use their logo on Jermaine's headstone. Jermaine is buried in the same cemetery as his maternal grandfather, just a few rows away, and Kendra expressed how hard it was for her to bury her dad when he passed, but burying her son was an experience on a whole other level. Her and I talked about how, as adults, we're supposed to bury our parents. You know, it's the normal cycle of things. It's how life works. You know, they take care of us when we're young. We take care of them when they're older. And when their time comes, we lay them to rest. It's the way it's meant to be. But for a mother or father, as a parent, to bury your child, it's just not normal. And that's how things aren't supposed to work that way. It's not natural. So she did express that, it was very tough for her to lose her father, but losing Jermaine, was next level. Prior to his death, Jermaine was enrolled in a program at Del Tech so that he could earn his GED. Kisa is a stickler when it comes to education and would not have been satisfied until her son at least got that GED. It's basically as good as a diploma, so she told him, no, you're going to do it. And he agreed. He agreed to get his GED, and then, maybe if he liked how things were going, maybe he would continue his education. Kendra herself continued her education into her 30s when she decided to go back to school for a business degree. At that time, she was already an established hair salon owner, so a family member talked her out of going to school for small business and talked her into getting a degree in accounting instead. I didn't bring it up to her in our conversation, but I might be reaching out to her at some point for some accounting tips. So heads up, Kisa. Jermaine also has a son who will be 10 this July. Hayden was born just 2 short weeks prior to Jermaine's passing. Hayden's due date wasn't until September, so he was premature and had to remain in the hospital until he was strong enough to go home. Kisa and other family members believe that Hayden arrived just a little early so that he would be able to see Jermaine, and Jermaine would be able to spend time with him before he passed, no matter how short that time was. You know, her and I talked about this. We both believe things happen for a reason, and you know, they firmly believe that Hayden came early just so he could see his daddy.
This is son. So, well, Hayden was born.
That's a cute name.
Yeah, so Hayden was born. He was premature because he was actually due on my daughter's birthday, which is in September. So he was premature, but when I went to the hospital to actually finally see him, because everything happened so quickly, I never had the chance to go see Hayden. And because he was, still in the, because he was premature. So I forgot what they call that.
The NICU?
NICU, yes.
Yeah.
So when I got there, the nurses all knew that. They were like, he was here every single night. And if that makes you feel any better, he did his part as a dad all the way up until he was gone. So with Hayden's age, it just is a reminder of how long. I could never forget how long my son has been gone. But Hayden is definitely a reminder, and Hayden acts exactly like him. So it's just kind of weird. It's not weird. It's a good thing. He's a goofball and everything.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously our kids are supposed to have our traits, to a certain extent, but I'm sure it trips you out sometimes.
It does. Sometimes
like facial expressions or something. Yeah.
My daughter's like, oh, she's going to start crying again. And it's just little stuff where she'll look at him and be like, whoa, you really that was your dad right there.
Tell them to leave you alone. You're allowed to be emotional.
I know. And that's what I tell them too. Leave me be.
Yeah, leave me be. Okay. Now, this is the part of the episode where we discuss the day that Jermaine died. Kisa decided to go over that day with me, and she did an amazing job at keeping her composure. I don't know if I were in her position if I would have been able to do that, but she did great. And she took a couple deep breaths, but she got through it. It's an important part of Jermaine's story, obviously, but it's also an important part of Kisa's story. And I'm sure she relives the day over and over again. So I'm honored that she agreed to share what happened with us. Jermaine's body was found lying in a pool of his own blood. Jermaine was shot in the back of his head in a parking lot near the 700 block of West 5th Street. That's roughly the area of 5th and Madison. For reference, that is about a block or two, 1 to 2 blocks away from the 4th Street McDonald's and from Adams 4. If you are familiar with this area, this is a busy area. This is a busy part of the city, and you'll hear Kisa refer to it as Center City once or twice in this episode. I've never heard it called that. That kind of helps express that this is a busy part of the city, okay?
It was like around 6 something. I was at my girlfriend's house. My kid's father called me and was like, hey, have you talked to Jermaine today? I'm like, earlier. I seen him the night before. So, oh wait, let me back up. There's more to that. So the night before, I was at my sister's house. He came past, and he had followed me home. Mm-hmm. And so he actually gave me his wristband to the because you have to have that wristband to get into the hospital. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He gave me that wristband the night before.
Okay.
Eerie, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So he gave me the wristband the night before. And I was like, what is this for? He said, so you could go see your grandson. And then the next day, so now fast forward to the next day, I'm at my girlfriend's house. We were actually all cooking dinner together. It was like maybe 10 of us. So I'm in a bike club. And so we were all at one of the members' houses, and we were cooking. It was a Sunday. And Big Jermaine calls me and is like, hey, have you heard from little Jermaine? I'm like, no, why? And he was like, somebody put on Jermaine's page, rest in peace and all of this stuff. So I'm like, what? So now everybody's at the house and we're all on Facebook trying to find, like, Facebook and Instagram, like, where was this, where, like, and I'm at the same time, I'm calling his phone, I'm blowing his phone up, no answer, of course.
Yeah.
So then somebody was like, there was a shooting on the west side by Center City. So I immediately got in my car and drove there. Big Jermaine met me there. And so I see that, the cops are outside and stuff. And so I started to walk down the street towards where Jermaine was at. And then something was like, don't go. So I had like one of Jermaine's pictures in my pocketbook or something. Mm-hmm. So I pulled it out. I'm showing a cop. I'm like, is it him? Is it him? And they were like, no, come with me. So they put me and Jermaine's dad in the car and took us to the police station. So we're sitting there. So now I'm getting phone, like, it's out there because somebody posted his deceased body with the title headshot.
Unbelievable. That's disgusting.
On Instagram. So my nieces, like, I have a niece that them two grew up, they're like sister and brother. And so she's seen that, she's at work. I got my sisters calling me. Their kids didn't seen it. So at this point, Kendra was at her cousin's house. I sent my best friend Tamu to go get her. Like, go get her, take her phone. I don't want her to see that. So we're sitting there, and then the cops, so we got Kendra at this point. And when I go outside, because I smoke cigarettes, unfortunately. At that point, I was smoking cigarettes. And so I go out, I'm like, listen, I have to get outside. I need to get out from here just for a minute. I go outside. The whole 4th Street is packed with so many people that I just, and it was packed. And the cop is out there like, find out where that Instagram, came from, because they actually already had seen it themselves at this point. So got Kendra in there, and then so we're sitting there. Big Jermaine have them send Kendra out of the room before they tell us, and I'm like, it's unreal. I don't believe you. Like, he has a tattoo of Kendra. It's Kendra with a 2 on his neck, and I'm just naming all this stuff. They were like, man, his ID was on him. I'm like, I still don't believe you. They were like, it's him. So then we have to pull my daughter in and tell her, which she already knew because somebody had actually already said something to her. She just didn't see the Instagram. Yeah, so I had a lot of people hunting it down and then reporting it. So I believe it got taken off. But, there's one person see it, they screenshot, can save it, whatever. So I still haven't seen a picture, and I don't want to.
No.
But, and there was like people like, I have the description of the picture because I asked, but they were like, I was like, I don't want to see it. And they was like, I don't want you to see it either. People were standing around him. Somebody had took his cell phone out of his pocket. We got it back though, because they tried to sell it to someone that knew us. And instead of them, they just snatched the phone from him and be like, I know whose phone this is. So disrespectful.
Would you guys like to guess the number of victims shot in the city that year? So in 2013, 154 people were shot in the city of Wilmington. That's just the city limits alone. Jermaine's death marked the 10th homicide in Wilmington that year. I struggled to find the exact number of homicides for 2013, and I even think that it's reported that 2013 had fewer homicides that year than other years. But if you ask me, 154 gunshot victims is a lot. Wilmington is only so big. That's a lot. This is also reported, and I know this to be true, that the city of Wilmington did not even have a homicide unit at the time of Jermaine's killing, and wouldn't have a homicide unit until the following year. I've lived in Delaware my entire life, and Wilmington has never been known as a safe place. Well, let me not say never. In my lifetime, at least. So why would a place once called Murder Town, Jada Pinkett called Wilmington Murder Town, why would a place like that not have a homicide unit? Anyone? Can someone make it make sense for me? But this all leads into an organization that Kisa helped start called Sweep the Streets. There is a Facebook page, which I will link in the show notes so that you can go follow it if you'd like. But Kisa helped start an organization called Sweep the Streets. And the members of Sweep the Streets have unfortunately had to steer away from actually walking in the streets as of late because it was getting a little dangerous. It also took a toll on Kisa and other members of the group because most of them are actively grieving a loved one, or, you know, even if it's not recent, you know, they're grieving a loved one, walking around Wilmington, seeing sadness, violence. It takes a toll, you know. But the group is still active online. Facebook, they post a lot of things, a lot of updates on things. So if you want to go follow that. But here is a clip from Kisa talking a little bit about that.
The streets got started. We were just actually, it turned out bigger than we anticipated. But so if we started taking the flyers in the area to where he was murdered at and handing out flyers so that they wouldn't forget. So it would be his death day, his birthday, or whenever, you know what I mean? And we would just make sure that we handed out flyers. It would be a whole bunch of people would gather. And then that way the people in the area, even if they felt scared to tell the cops, at least tell us, right. You know what I mean? Even though the cops couldn't use what we say, they could, you know, we could give them some clues.
Yeah,
it could lead to something. And then, so I didn't want to just do about my son because it was so many other especially in 2013, the murder rate was high as it was just crazy. And so then we started posting, we did the Facebook page, and then we was posting about Jermaine, and then we had other people reaching out to us like, hey, can you actually, no, I'm sorry. There was a member of Sweep the Streets, and her niece had got killed. And then I had a cousin helping. It was her, which was my cousin. He was murdered. So then we started bringing awareness to their cases. And then it was just, and other people just started coming along, and we were and started passing things off. And then we had linked up with Crime Stoppers. So Crime Stoppers was actually giving rewards for information as well.
Is there a reward for Jermaine's case that you know of?
Just for the one from Crime Stoppers.
Okay. Well,
I'm just waiting to hit the lottery because I feel like if I put a reward out, a large one, we'll end up with some information.
Funny how that works, huh?
Yeah.
So at the time of our interview, Mother's Day had just passed. Kisa let me know that Jermaine always went above and beyond to make sure that her Mother's Day was special. She also told me that, you know, sadly, she no longer celebrates that day now that he's gone because it just doesn't feel the same. And it's unfortunate, but I know this is the case for all the mothers that I have had the privilege of speaking to so far. Even if they don't mention it, I know Mother's Day is not going to be the same. Even if they still celebrate it, even if it's still a part of their lives, it's not the same. A day meant to celebrate all of the love and hard work and sacrifice that a mom makes is now just, unfortunately, just another reminder that their lives are incomplete. And it's very sad. If anyone listening remembers seeing something that day, because again, this is a very busy part of the city. It was 6 p.m. in August. That's still broad daylight, peak active hours. If anyone remembers seeing something, anything at all, you can anonymously report information to Delaware Crime Stoppers by going to their website or by calling 1-800-TIP-3333. You are also able to text tips to 274-637. But again, this is all anonymous. Crime Stoppers doesn't have to know your name. They don't have to know where you are. They won't report any of that. It's all anonymous. This was a child. He has a child. So if you do know anything, please find it in your heart to say something. And guys, if you thought nothing ever happened here, you thought wrong. Thanks for listening, and be on the lookout for episode 5 next week. Thanks, guys.